Hello, it's Tom, it's SoftTalk ASMR. How are you today? It's a chance to relax, be present, just allow yourself to be one with yourself, to allow the flow, to no longer resist, just to allow any energy that is building up from your day that you've carried. Just take a nice deep breath in and let it all go. Let it all go, release it now. Now today's video, I'm standing up. Why am I standing up? Probably because I've been laying down too much today, sitting down too much. I'm having one of those days where, things have been a bit difficult. And I would like to explain something to you which I think may be of help. And if it's help to one person or one family, then that's great. And I would like to talk to you about emotional shutdown. Now, emotional shutdown is something that I feel is overlooked and is certainly not fully understood. When I say not fully understood, I mean by those who are not afflicted by it. Back in 2015, I was a very different person to what I am now. I had employment, I had confidence, I had the ability to do so much, and unfortunately I was the victim of a very traumatic experience, and that was towards the end of 2015. And like all these things, the body tries to handle the stress of that experience, tries to carry on. You try to carry on yourself in your job, which I did. Only about 2 months, possibly even less, a month after the trauma, I was clearly having the effects of PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. I was becoming more and more drained, heavily tired, exhausted, because I was carrying so much, carrying all that pain and hurt and suffering, and I did not know how to transmute it, how to let it pass through me, how to let it go. I was carrying it, and one day it all just got too much. I couldn't carry on in my job, and with much sadness, I had to resign from my job. Who I was working for, it was not possible to keep the job open, so I had to pack it in, and from then on, one's self-confidence started to heavily reduce, because I no longer had a focus, I no longer had a purpose. But I still tried to go out each day for exercise, to walk my dog Callum, to drive, to go to places, but I was still carrying that trauma, the heavy anxiety. I became a very anxious person, and to be anxious, as you may well know, is very exhausting. It's exhausting, continually being anxious, and panic attacks kept happening. And I just did not know how to handle any of this. I kept going right up until July 2017. So it was almost 2 years since the heavy trauma. And one day I just couldn't move. I couldn't get out of bed. My head was blocked up. And it felt as if I had a massive ice cube in my head that was so sore and rough and rigid and blocked up that even just to stand up I became lightheaded. I became so lightheaded that I got very concerned, very, very anxious that something physically wrong was going wrong with me, and obviously I could no longer go out. Even getting out downstairs, getting out the room, so difficult. But I'm a fighter, and I continue to try to work through, to heal myself, to work through all this. And really the topic of this video, I think what I will name this is understanding emotional shutdown. Because when I clearly couldn't get out, I was just too overwhelmed, too exhausted, heavily sensitized, because that's another aspect of anxiety. Firmly believe that, anxiety is one thing, but sensitization is another. To actually get so sensitized by bright light, sound. If it rains and you're outside the house and a full transit goes by and revs up and changes gear, you might know what that's like. That was very unsettling. And because I became so sensitized, because my body was on high alert, anxious so much, it was becoming so difficult just to get outside the house. I had various tests done, what could be done from the house by doctor, GP, and even psychologists, psychiatrists, and they both reported back there's nothing physically or mentally wrong with me, which was nice. It was a lovely confirmation to have, great, but it still didn't explain why I was battling to continue to live each day and try and sustain some sort of life, because of continually feeling on edge and continually feeling everything seems so difficult, and to grasp anything and everything. Eating meals became a chore. If you've ever seen The Imitation Game, the film The Imitation Game, where he starts separating the peas from the carrots, I started doing things like that. OCD was clearly coming in, obsession, because I felt the need to control these things, because clearly I wasn't in control of what happened to me back at the end of 2015, the trauma, the heavy trauma. So, one day, obviously doing a little bit of self-research, and I urge you not to go too much down Google and YouTube searches with what's wrong with you for diagnosis, because that in itself is example of hypochondria and can bring on all sorts of tension and upset. But I did notice a bit of a link, a correlation between energy, why I was always tired, and why in some cases even now I still get very tired, which I'll come to in a moment. So I was looking up energy and understanding why we get tired, and I started to understand about the chakras, the energy points that are in each of us. And when I looked into this energy, I realised that there was something called Reiki, which is energy healing, which can be done. So I booked an appointment, and a lady very kindly came to my house, and she explained that all this lightheadedness and blocks and feelings of overwhelm and sensitisation and anxiety is because my emotional body, notice I say emotional body, has become blocked. And after just one session, I felt really very much calmer, very much improved. I highly recommend Reiki if you're suffering with anxiety, exhaustion, mental exhaustion, emotional difficulties. So I was receiving the Reiki twice a week and then once a week. And with that, I learnt a lot more about understanding about our different layers of our body. Now obviously there's the physical body, the mental body, the emotional body, and our spiritual body. And when I was trying to come to terms with, well, what's really happened to me, and why now, still now, although I feel I'm going through a good healing process, why do I still get very, very, very tired? And first thing in the morning especially, it's very hard to get going. And I noticed that one lady on YouTube who does Reiki, she really helped answer the question for me. It's not that I'm physically ill or mentally ill, it's emotional illness. And I think that a lot of people in the community are very quick to say mental illness, mentally ill. I don't think many people have a grasp or a concept of thinking it in a slightly bigger perspective that actually it's emotional illness. And I think a lot of people are carrying a lot of suppressed emotion, a lot of emotion which they can't transmute, they don't know how to transmute. They're carrying it, it's making them stressed, anxious, nervous, which is obviously why people are having panic attacks. So this very kind lady, I'm not sure whether to say her name or not, so I won't at this stage, but she said to me, you've emotionally shut down, you've gone into shutdown. And it makes a lot of sense. My emotions have shut down my ability to do things because it's trying to protect me. By becoming so sensitized, I didn't get involved with things because it felt too taxing, far too taxing. So with the healing that I'm doing, both receiving and giving healing through my healing videos, I'm really determined to clear all of this out of me. to transmute the traumas, the emotions that have become stuck. And with SoftTalk ASMR, which is why I created this channel, because I found that ASMR is an excellent thing for trying to get some security and comfort and a sense of grounding. That I think we can all benefit from sharing knowledge. So here I am sharing this knowledge. I hope this can help somebody, and in particular help friends and families of a person that may well be going through emotional shutdown. It is a very sad circumstance to be in. Emotional shutdown, my experience of it, friends don't understand it. I've lost so many friends. The people I knew 4 years ago compared to how many people I know now. I feel sorry for my friends, former friends, that they do find it so difficult to understand. When I've tried explaining what's going on, and then I don't get responses, or I get very cold, shallow responses, it does make me feel sorry for them. They really do find it awkward. So to heal from emotional shutdown will take time. Everybody is different. I think it all depends on what has happened and how long it's been happening. But I cannot recommend Reiki healing enough. There are other forms of healing out there. And obviously to try and get the body physically moving again, to try and get the body moving, a little bit of jogging indoors, light jogging. If you've heard of Qigong or Tai Chi, very small movements, literally where you're raising the Qi, raising the energy, bringing that energy through. And breathing, obviously, deep breathing. I'm looking into something called pranic breathing, which I've got a book the other day, and my instinct's telling me that's an excellent thing to work on, to transmute, to get these emotions out safely. All I will say is, if somebody you know is going through a shutdown period, don't give up on them. Please don't give up on them. They will get through it, and I feel that I probably would have got through this, or learned, or felt able to deal with it, if people hadn't walked away. I used to be on Facebook. I stopped logging into it. When I realised people were finding this awkward, I was trying to explain I can't go out the house, I can't commit to anything. So I probably Facebook is probably a good thing to stay off if you are going through an emotional shutdown, because it's probably only going to upset to see what everybody else can achieve and do. However, I dare say there are some people out there that I have lost contact with now, that probably don't understand or don't even realise I've been ill. But going back to the root cause of this, I've carried so much anxiety over the years, and sadly too many traumas happened. Being held up by my neck against a wall, which had happened more than one occasion. I carried that. I didn't let it go. I carried that emotion, and I know that my throat chakra has needed a lot of healing. Not being able to speak out, not being able to project myself. And then, the other trauma, it's just, I can't stress enough, if you've gone through shock, if you've gone through trauma, it's important you transmute it, you release it. And Reiki energy healing is a brilliant way to do that. I've also, again, I'm still working on this. I'm still trying to find a solution to try and stop resisting. I know I'm resisting because I'm putting up this barrier. I need to be more in the flow of life. I talk a lot about it. I'm still working on it. I recommend that as well. Being in the flow of life, don't resist it. So if you've suffered trauma and shock, if you're struggling, I recommend Reiki healing energy. And if you can get somebody to come to you to do it in your own home, if you're struggling, if you can't get out, people will come to you. It'll probably cost more money, obviously, but people will come to you. And I think if they're a good Reiki healer, they will understand straight away. That's about it, really. I hope you're okay. I'm sorry if this video is a little bit unusual or odd, that I'm getting something off my chest. I feel I'm also potentially helping somebody. Please don't walk away from someone if you feel they've changed, they've gone into shutdown, agoraphobia, are not able to get out, panicky, on edge. Please stick by them. And even if you feel you can't help them, don't say, I can't help you. I've had that done to me. Just let them know that you love them, you care about them, and you wish them well, and support them, and know that they will get better one day. But I still think emotional illness, emotional imbalances are a lot more to be understood and considered for why people shut down. So there we are. From the bottom of my heart, I project love to you. I hope you're well. And please don't give up. Just don't resist. Try not to resist. The emotions will just be fed, and you'll find yourself going round in a circle. Just remember that the universe does support you. There is light within us. There's light all around us. I love to feel that. And Reiki energy healing has helped me discover that. So there we are. Emotional shutdown. I hope I've explained it to you. I hope you understand it. And I hope you can support someone that may be going through this, or may at some stage go through this. Don't give up on them. Just let them know you're there. Just a text or a WhatsApp now and again. So, as ever, with loving kindness, please accept my love.